Hey, Jonathan. How are you doing? Congratulations, man. Thanks for coming up. Good. Okay, everyone, wrapping up the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500 with the winning driver and strategist as well. Just a couple of deep dives on what happened today. There were 649 on-track passes for the Indy 500, most since 2017. 16 leaders, 49 lead changes. Josef Newgarden led 26 of the 200 laps, of course, driving the number 2 Shell Powering Progress, Team Penske Chevrolet, now a 2-time Indianapolis 500 champion, back-to-back for the first time since Helio Castroneves did it back in 2001 and 2002. And obviously for Team Penske, it is a record-setting 20th win in the 500. So Josef joins us, as does the strategist and Jonathan Duguid, who joined Team Penske back in 2007. He's worked on the IndyCar programs, IMSA, ALMS programs as well, and now gets to boast that he's an Indy 500 winner as well. So congratulations to both. Josef, I don't know if you had a time to really stop and think about what happened today, the 12 hours of Indy, but I'm guessing you're glad the race happened today.
I'm so throttled. You have no idea. I don't know that I'm going to be very articulate right now in this moment, but I'm appreciative of this team. This team earned this win the entire month. They've earned it the entire year. You have no idea how much effort's gone into this. It's every individual. That's what Indy exemplifies. It exemplifies the team, and to show it in qualifying, to show it in the race, it's a proud moment for everybody. I'm thankful Jonathan was here. I missed Tim, I missed Luke, but I was just as happy to have Jonathan and Raul. They're just as good. It was different, but they're just as good. And this team just has no shortage of excellence across the board. I would step in any one of these cars. Thankfully, you don't have to be on one program. They're all great, and I think they all contributed to this win. So it was a big team day. Really just appreciative. I enjoyed driving today. That's how I started this year. It's what I wanted to get back to, and very gratifying, very, very gratifying race to go through with this group.
Easy follow-up for you. The pass outside of turn 3, your thoughts as you look back at that?
Yeah, hard to know if it's going to work. I don't think it works unless you're racing someone like Pato. It's not that Pato didn't race me hard. He just raced me clean. And that move doesn't work unless you're racing someone like that. It just doesn't. It's very easy that doesn't work out. And so I think he's a tremendous champion. He could have easily won the race himself. He was very capable of that with his team. And, for us, it worked out. He drove me excellently. I'm very thankful for him and the way that he drove. And look, from our side, we left it all on the track. There was nothing that we were going to come home and regret. I definitely felt that way in the final. I'm like, we're going to put it all on the line. You have to, if you want to win Indy, that's just the way it's got to be, especially nowadays. And it was enough. Our car was so fast, and it was pretty good. It was a little hairy at the end. I mean, it just as far as the trickiness, but we had it all day as far as the commitment and the car and the team, and we laid it all out there in turn 3.
Jonathan, for you, heck of a weekend, pit stop challenge, and then the win here today. How'd this happen? Rate this.
Yeah, I mean, like Josef said, to be able to come in and this isn't my full-time job, as they say, to be able to come in and represent the team and the amount of work that went into showing up the way we showed up here. I think, I've done Indy probably over 15 times, and this is the smoothest, easiest weekend as far as, preparation. We showed up and the cars were fast out of the box. And when you're in a situation like that, you can start to focus on the details. And like Josef mentioned, the details are what got it done today. And, I was talking to Raul after the race, and, I turned to him and said, Raul, I don't think we made any mistakes today. We might have made, 50-50 decision one way or the other, but there was no mistakes. And that's what it takes to be in a position like we're at the end. And I think on the final restart, there was a alternate strategy that came to play, and we were cycled back in line. And I think I said to Josef, you're going to have to do it the old fashioned way. It can't really help you out here anymore. And the old fashioned way is passing on track. And that's what we did. And there are some amazing restarts in addition to the pass on the outside of turn 3 that everybody on the timing stand stopped looking at the television screens because we didn't know if we were going to come out the other side. And I think the confidence that Josef had in the car, allows him to do that. And like you said, it was an excellent day on pit road. And with the help of Kevin and Mark, the engine support technician, and Mustafa, and all the guys, the preparation level for the race and the execution was second to none.
All right, we'll open up for questions. We've got Madeline on this side, Jack on the other. We'll begin here, Madeline, with Bruce Martin. Go ahead, Bruce.
Joseph, for as disjointed as his last year's finish was with the red flags, this year really made more than made up for that, because it was just a straight out fight all the way to the end. And how satisfied are you to be able to win it like that?
I thought they were both incredibly satisfying. That's what I would say. Very different races, but both hard fought and I think deserved as far as for our team and the effort that was put in, the car that was on track, the execution. I feel very similar about them. Today was another excellent statement of that. Just to echo Jonathan again, it's every little detail piece you can't win this race on a whim. It's just rarely happens that way. There's no guarantees when you show up and you're on the grid today, and it's about getting every little detail right. We didn't make mistakes today. We didn't make mistakes last year, and I think the team deserved both of them. So just proud to be a part of it. Really, really proud. You have no idea. I had fun today. I had so much fun working with this team. They did a great job.
20th Indy 500 win for Roger, and once again you get your 30th victory. You get to celebrate that twice. How important are those numbers to you?
They're very important. I think they're important to Roger. It's one of the things that I love about him is his vision to always be moving forward. I think some people, maybe it doesn't work for them, but you don't have the success and the integrity of someone like Roger Penske without that vision. And I've seen it personally over the last 8 years. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, and the numbers matter. And I know how bad he wanted 20, and I can tell you, I really wanted the second one, and this entire group wanted to win today. I think they deserve to win today, and they care about winning these races. You have to. I mean, why do we show up if we don't care about it? We care tremendously, so it means a lot, and glad to get back there.
And also, you were already going to win over $3 million with the victory, but the $440,000 from Borg Warner, I mean, that's a nice little bonus just to be able to have that. More importantly, the accomplishment of going back to back since LEO in 01 and 02.
Well, everybody on this team deserves a big bonus after today. Not even today, this month. Wow. I mean, I'm telling you, it's not, this Indy, you can see the highs and lows of it so easily. You go up and you go down, and we've been down on the speed aspect the last 4 years, and we've been just fighting our way back as a group together. And, everybody has earned this one today all year. It took a long time to get to this point. So yeah, it's cool.
Zach Kiefer.
Joseph, your celebration was identical to last year. In that moment, emotionally, how was it similar to last year, and how did it feel different?
Oh, so similar. I mean, I genuinely mean that. It was very similar. It's kind of, you don't know that you're going to ever win this race. Of course, you can dream about it. How could you not, right? Like, I've dreamed about winning this race for years, but you'd never know you're going to win it until you're winning it. And that's like right before the line that you're winning it. So it's very spur of the moment, and I just wanted to get back, to do what we did last year, and celebrate with this group so quickly was very gratifying.
Zach.
I guess double barrel question. One, sort of what was like your strategy for navigating the delay? I think everybody expected there would be one, but just didn't know where it would fall. Kind of what were you doing? Did you rest? Did you, just kind of take a nap or anything like that?
Yeah, it's pretty straight. I'll let Jonathan answer this one because it's pretty straightforward from my side. I actually didn't really talk to these guys much, so I'd be interested to hear his perspective on what the team was doing, but I was pretty low key. I was just waiting basically for Jonathan to text me to say like, hey, we're about to go.
Yeah, because the name of the text group was Indy 500 Domination, right? So, so we did have a text group started on that. And, to be honest, I think the communication about the weather delay was pretty clear, and, they had a hard and fast line in the sand for time wise. And so, we knew there was plenty of time to get a full distance race in. And so we just executed the race plan that we had talked about on Saturday.
And then I guess the second question is anything different when you're racing here later in the day? That's a lot later than you guys would normally have the car out there, whether it's temperature, whether it's, shadows and light, whatever it was. Did anything feel different?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, conditions are drastically different. We were talking all day, Jonathan and I, about it, and he was keeping me up to date on track temp and ambient, and it really started to change the last 50 laps. It stayed pretty, I would say, stable up to that point, at least from my side, and then I could really tell a difference, 50 to go. It started rapidly cooling, mostly the track itself, and that brought a different balance. It actually brought a trickier balance to drive, and I think just helped everybody gain a lot more grip. So it just made the battle even more fierce at the end because, you know, no one's really fading within a tire run. Everyone's just, you know, able to push flat out and stay pretty close. So that's a difference to what, you know, a full daytime hot race would be.
Jenna.
Joseph, when they handed you the bottle of milk, you took a couple big swigs and then you reached for the phone, you FaceTime someone, used some expletives. Who were you talking to there?
There was Luke Mason on the
Okay.
phone. Someone gave me that and I saw him on there. It was good to see him.
And you just wanted to, you know, celebrate and
How could we
yell the
not?
F word a few times?
I didn't, well, apologies for the F word. I didn't know
No,
everybody
we
was
didn't
listening.
hear it. We were just lip reading.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, yep. Sorry about that, but no, it was great to see him. Great to
Yeah,
see him.
okay, cool. Thank you. Have you talked to TC?
I haven't. I look forward to it, but you know, we're going to celebrate as a group tonight, and I'll talk to him, I'm sure, at some point soon.
Right behind you, Jenna. Let's go. Yep. Joey Barnes. Go ahead, Joey.
Hey, Joseph, on that last lap pass, I mean, when Pato got around you going into one, you come out of two, able to follow him closely to be able to make that run into three. Was that a byproduct of the cooler track temperature, or were you able to follow that? When did you notice that you could follow that closely earlier in the race?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I think we had that confidence for most of the month. It's a byproduct of an excellent race car. I mean, look, I'm not going to take credit for being able to follow that close. If the car can't do it, it can't do it. That's an oval racing. You can't force these things. It's very much a team aspect. And that's why I say, I think Indy magnifies that more than anywhere else we go. I mean, you have to have the race car just dialed perfectly to be able to do that stuff. And it has been really fun to drive all month. To Jonathan's point, it's been pretty simple. You know, we've not really stepped outside of our box much. It was very, you know, well orchestrated, and we just tried to hit our points and execute well. So that was a byproduct of a great car.
And then I guess on the second one, if you get the chance to talk to Bato, because obviously he's kind of going through some things, being runner up here a few times, going through his own drought, if you will, like what you endured. What do you tell him?
Well, I mean, I would echo what I just already said. He is a champion. He's one of the best competitors we have in this field. He's a really nice guy. Every time I talk to Pato, we have great conversations, and I think, you know, we have a lot of respect for each other. So I'm appreciative for the way that he drives. He drove like a champion in this race, and you know, he's just as deserving of a winner, in my opinion. You know, he definitely could have won this race. So it's tough to not win it. You know, I can't say anything to ease that for him. When you don't win, it hurts. And you know, I've left here 11 times prior with a broken heart, so I know the feeling. Whether you're close or you're far, it's a broken heart. So I can't ease that, but he's a champion. I think he knows it, and I definitely have a lot of respect for him.
Go ahead, and then we'll go Tony, and then Justin after that. Go ahead.
Jerry Jordan kicking the tires, letting that. Today, you know, Larson was up front until he had issues, you know, on pit road speeding. What was it like for you running around him? Did you notice him at all, or any? He said he wants to come back and do this again. So, you know, what are your thoughts on that?
I think he should. He's a great driver. I mean, you know, he's been a joy to have here this weekend. He's been, you know, great to talk to and work with, and as far as on track. And you know, I didn't see him much today. At least I didn't feel like I did. But there was alternate strategies going on, as Jonathan talked about, and I think he was in a different spot to us. But I'm not surprised that he, you know, wants to come back. I'm thankful. I think it speaks volumes for the Indy 500 that he stayed. You know, it just shows the significance of this event, and I'm not surprised he wants to come back. I think it's great for the sport.
Tony.
We've talked a bunch over the last 365 days. You're hungrier to come back this year to win again. You can go for 3 in a row next year. This is a busy week coming up for you. What's something that you want to make sure that you do that maybe you didn't get a chance to last year when you went to the victory week celebration, obviously going to New York? And then your cool down lap seems like you were still flying out there. Or was that just an excitement level to get to and back into the stands?
Yeah, it was a blur. I mean, you know, it was so intense the last 30 laps that it was difficult to just shut that off. I mean, it was flat out. Like no one was lifting or giving anything up. I mean, I felt like I was wrecking half the time, and it looked like others were kind of the same way. I mean, it was full on. So when I crossed the line, you don't just shut the engines off. I mean, you're like still in full out mode. So I think that's what you saw there. And I was just trying to process it pretty quickly, which is difficult to do in, you know, a minute, trying to get back to the start finish line.
And then this week, obviously, it's going to be a busy one. You turn around, go to Detroit, but you've got media obligations that you learned it last year, but what's something this year, make sure that maybe you sink in or, you take in a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm going to just try and be more measured with, it's very tough. I mean, it sets you back from a commitment standpoint. You got to go so many places. You don't like, I'm someone that really needs personal time. I value that tremendously. Like I can't be in front of a lot of people for too long. And unfortunately that's like a big part of the job, especially if you win this race. So I'm going to try and honor my commitments and do a great job for this series and this event. But I definitely need to, measure it more than last year and find some time to get back into the season rhythm.
I think it's called self-care. Is that what the kids call it now?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. All right. Justin, then Bruce.
Yeah, Joseph, where does this one rank for you? I mean, because Pato came in here and so did Scott, talking about how they made moves during the race that could have put them in the wall or spun them out, or any, you kind of echoed the same type of thing. I mean, this race, just from a viewer's perspective, was thrilling and exciting, and you come out on top. So does this rank higher in any of your other wins you've had?
Have you won this before?
No.
I didn't know that. I thought Jonathan had one. Okay, well, because I want him to answer this too. It's very special. I mean, I'll repeat, it was tough not having my normal reality here this weekend, but I was just as excited to have Jonathan and Raul. I mean, I think very highly of these two individuals, and I've seen them at various points in my career where I thought, maybe I'll have an opportunity to work with them full time on the IndyCar side, and it didn't work out. We've all gone in different career paths, so it ranks the circumstances, the camaraderie, the time that we got to spend together, out of chance. This wasn't supposed to happen, and we got this opportunity out of chance, and to be able to pull it off together, it ranks very high for me. Very, very high. I don't know that I want to put it first on the list, but I mean, it seems like it probably would be first. It's really, really cool. So I think it's a good question for Jonathan too. I didn't realize he hadn't won it, but it is right up there.
Yeah, like Joseph said, I've finished second a couple times with Elio when I was his engineer there, and so I know the being so close and not being able to come over the finish line. So to be able to be part of this group and represent a lot of hard work from other people, I feel a little bit guilty in the sense that I kind of showed up and everything was going smoothly and got the opportunity to be here. But that's what it's like to be part of Team Penske. The opportunities exist on many fronts. And I think, being able to be part of this today is definitely a high point in my career and look forward to more.
Let's get a mic up to, thanks, Justin. Right behind you, Bruce. Thank you. And then we'll stay in the front row after that. And then Tim, go ahead.
Jonathan, earlier this month, Roger Penske got his 100 sports car victory out in Monterey,
Sure.
and you were on top of the timing stand for that.
Yep.
Today, you get Mr. Penske, his 20th Indy 500 win. Those are two pretty special accomplishments that you're personally involved in. So how do you put all that into perspective?
I think this year is probably, is going to go down as a dream year. That this group also is part of the Daytona 24-hour win. I talked a little bit about feeling guilty, and I think Joseph said the same thing after the Daytona 24 hours. He kind of rocked up, and we got the first win after many, many decades. And I think the biggest thing today we talked about in the race is qualifying on the front row. We could be on offense all day, and I think that's what we were. We were on offense for the last 60 laps. Joseph did a good job saving fuel. We made the strategy decisions to be in a good spot to be able to push hard for the last 60 laps. And I think that's a lot of what Joseph talked about, being worn out and just tired at the end of the race because it was flat out, no fuel saving and big push there. So.
And Joseph, a couple of times you win races. Mr. Penske's brought you ice cream, things like that at Texas. What did he say to you today? What was that moment like?
He was the same RP, I mean, he's not changed. He was just, he was happy for the group. When Roger sees everybody execute, there's nothing that makes him happier because that's what we preach. We try and work together as a team. It is one team. He genuinely does not care which car wins the race. And I think oddly enough, that's how a lot of individuals feel. Of course, selfishly we want to win for each car, but when Roger sees us execute as a team and a car win the race and to do it through execution, he's very proud. And like I said, I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna be on to number 21 now. You know, everyone thought like, oh, he wants 20 and that's his number, but like he's gonna be okay. How do we get to 21? He might even say something silly like we got to get to 25 or something. So, I just love it. I love his mentality, and you know, we're always moving forward, and that's what I felt today.
You expect his parking space will be changed by the end of the night?
It's probably already changed.
I believe it has
I'd be-
changed already.
I'd
yeah.
be surprised if it's not.
So, time for a couple more. Let's go stay in the front row. Sorry. And then Madeline, you've done a great job last couple of weeks. And then we'll go Timmy. Go ahead.
Joseph, I think this question is a couple for the two of you. I remember you said on Media Day that you have the plan that you must be in the first position or the second one in order to win the race. How do you plan this part of the race? Because I see Jonathan said that you already have something in a strategy because you know the draft and all this kind of thing.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously this race is run for over 100 years. And so you can look back at history on where people needed to be be in a position to win the race. And like I said, with qualifying on the front row, we sort of controlled our own destiny all day. And I think, you know, we had conversations in the strategy meeting of, you know, from lap 0 to 100, we're okay with dropping back to 7th or 8th to save fuel and hit these targets. But as we get closer to the end of the race, we want to be in the top 3 because that's the only way you don't get caught up in somebody else's mess or control your destiny, like Joseph said. And I think, you know, with 40 laps to go, we were in the group there. And I think the communication is now it's time to do your homework. And what I meant by that was learn how to pass, learn how to get the runs, learn how to manage a draft, and learn how to manage the fuel, because it's all going to come down to an all-out blast for the last 15 laps, which is what happened. And, you know, it takes all the learning, not just from this race, but previous races, to be able to apply that and execute restarts like Joseph had on the last restart. I think it was 3 wide into turn 1, which never really ends up very well. But in the case, I think we picked up 4 spots and put us back into contention. And then the pass in the last lap in turn 3 there. So just being at the front all day is really important, because that's what it's going to come down to. And that's what our focus was.
And I kind of asked something similar to Pato. What lesson did you learn, Joseph, from the St. Pete Gate that will help you through the year?
Lessons. You know, in an odd way, I think I'm grateful for the experience. I think it's good. It's been a very illuminating experience to me, you know, more from the outside world. And I don't know I know what I take from that personally. I know what it showed me, which I'm thankful for. I think it shows you things that maybe weren't fully clear, but are very clear now. And I think it's an experience that it's got to either break you or tough you up. And, you know, for me, that's all I'll say about it. We've been moving forward. We've never worked together, you know, more as a group than this weekend. And I thought that was difficult to do. This is the most tight-knit team I've ever seen. It's been a pleasure to be a part of it, because it's such a it's such a well conjoined group. I mean, everybody works so well together. So it's fun to show up here. It's fun to go to work. And I've never had it better than this month. So excited to go forward. You know, we've had a good time this month.
Final question, Tim May.
Yeah, Joseph, about 30 years ago, Al Unser Jr. made this statement that in the final laps of a race, when you're contending, et cetera, the only thing in his mind that mattered was winning. I mean, trying to figure out a way to win. That doesn't mean necessarily be reckless, but put it out there, you know, hang it out on the line. When did you notice coming up that you had that ability, and did you feel that again today of whatever it took?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I thought I misstepped a little bit. You know, the team with me was really in step with what was going on and giving me all the right information. And then, you know, it comes down to, you know, trying to make the right moves at the right time. And I think I misstepped a little bit, to be honest, after probably lap 130, 140. And then there was a little bit of a recovery mode to that. But you know, two parts to the question is, you know, when we showed up, we felt like we had a race winning car. I mean, it was very evident, I think, to all of us. It was evident to me, and I think the team could see it. And we were trying to, you know, put the pieces together correctly and not misstep. And then in the race, it was the exact same deal. You know, I rated in that, you know, this is the car. Like we're not going to lose this race because of the car. We're going to lose it if we don't do the job correctly. And everybody did the job correctly today. And I think that's why it was pulled off.
Yeah, when you're watching him do it out there on the track, I mean, it's in his hands. So, you know, the last 20 or so laps, what is that like? And what does it tell you about him just one more time of what he's made of?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think I said something at the timing, Stan. This is the fun part because we can just sit back and be race fans and watch. And to sort of see what happened for those last 20 laps was amazing. And, you know, the crowd that was here today to get to see, you know, the moves that were happening in turn one and the restarts and then in the last lap, it's definitely going to be an iconic race and one that'll be replayed many times because it was nonstop action. And you know, there's a high stress level and everything, but we did our last pit stop. We had enough fuel to push flat out the whole time. So to be honest, we were just race fans at that point. And just feeding the information that Josef needed about what was happening on around him and then just watching him go to work.
One final question before you take off. There's the Borg Warner bonus that you now know about, but this is the first back-to-back since Elio did it some 22 years ago. Just your thoughts on how rare a feat like that is and how special that is, I guess.
You know, someone had to reset the bank. I guess we did. But no, it was great. It's, you know, I said this a couple times before I got up here, but you know, I had let go of the thought of winning this race last year. You know, it's so difficult to win. There's no guarantees that it doesn't matter how good you are, you know, or how well you execute. It does not guarantee a victory at Indianapolis ever. And, you know, last year I really started focusing on just the opportunity and saying, you know, this is so fun that we get to show up here and we've got great cars, we've got a great crew, and we have an opportunity to win the race. I know we did. I know we did last year, and I definitely know we did this year. So I just focused on that. And I said, look, if we win it, that's great, but it's the opportunity that's the joy of it. And I say that because it is very difficult to win the race. It's very difficult to win it back-to-back, and I'm over the moon. I've got no words for what we've been able to do. I'm really proud of this team. They deserve it.
It was a long day, but tremendous finish. Congratulations to you guys as well. And by the way, we're